Hello, everyone, and welcome to another incredible episode of Empowered Conversations, where I have amazing conversations with extraordinary people who are out in the things in service to others, as well as live all around just living their best lives and living lives with intention, lives on purpose. And that is none other than my guest today, living his true passions and his purpose. And now he's been on this health and wellness journey, and it's absolutely amazing. I'm going to tell you about my guest, Ali Khan. Ali Khan is a television host and multi-hyphenate creative in the food space. The current host of Food Network's Spring Baking Championship is most known for his breakout series, Cheap Eats. And y'all, Cheap Eats is hands down one of my most favorite shows on the Food Network. Ali Khan is so frickin' funny. Cheap Eats ran for 5 seasons on the Cooking Channel, internationally on the Food Network, and is currently streaming on Discovery Plus. Ali is also The Best Thing I Ever Ate, another one of my favorite shows, a judge on Food Network's Chopped and Chopped Jr., and he recently launched his own YouTube series, Ali versus the Dome. His food writing has appeared in magazines and award-winning digital publications such as Highways, Black Book Magazine, Urban Daddy, James Beard winner LA Taco, You Gotta Eat This, as well as authoring his own food blogs, Bang for Your Burger Buck and Ali Khan Eats. Having a child with food allergies, Ali is also an official spokesman for FARE, FARE, a food allergy advocacy group. In addition to food writing, Ali is a natural-born performer, trained in the theatrical arts at Carnegie Mellon University and the University of Southern California, where he earned his BA in theater studies. Everyone, Ali Khan is one of my most favorite Food Network stars. I absolutely adore his big, authentic, fun, funny energy. And the reason that he's on Empowered Conversations, y'all, is because I've been following his journey to much greater health and wellness, and his transformation is tremendous. Everybody help me in welcoming, geez, Ali Khan.
Thank you, Stephanie.
What's
Wow.
up?
Wow. Yeah, I'm feeling that. That's better than a jolt of coffee in the morning.
Heck yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for being here. It is such an honor. You look amazing, by the way. And I'm just so happy to have you here. You know, it's so funny. Every time, I've been following you for a while on Instagram, and I don't remember when it started rotating, where you were sharing, your workouts, you were eating, and it was healthy. And every time that I see you share something that's related to this greater physical fitness, this greater health and wellness, it just lights me up. It just lights me up. I'm just so proud and happy for you.
Well, yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was interesting. None of this was exactly part of some kind of grandiose plan. And actually, like, over the years, I would almost say, and this is among close friends, and also people who watch me on shows like Cheap Eats and Best Thing I Ever Ate. They see the food, and they see you, and they go, "Oh my God, like, how do you do it? How do you do it?" And the reality is, as I started to really do more and more food TV, I found a very good reason to actually, getting back into working out regularly. I used to do it.
Right.
I was never completely averse to the gym. Not an athletic person though, so I growing up. So I feel like that's worth noting. But in my 20s and stuff, I started to do the elliptical and all that. And then you have a kid, and then that's just not happening when you
Right.
have a newborn and stuff. And it is about those routines and habits. But even on the road doing cheap eats, I was doing workouts when I first started out in TV. I was like, oh my gosh, I should get a personal trainer. And I started to
Yeah.
do boot camp workouts. So the funny thing is over the years that I think people have known me, I've actually been working on my health. It's actually been happening for a bit of time. But the big thing, and I think why you
Hmm.
have reached out to me, and why I've been like, wow, I need to talk about this, has been just
Yeah.
really these simple words. You can't outrun a bad diet. And I was trying real hard to work out. And look, you could always be better. You could always be worse. Like there's
Hmm.
no perfect thing. But I had a big epiphany at the end of 2021, and I don't know why it hit the way it hit, but I saw my doctor for just a whatever checkup, and he's looking at my numbers, and I've always had things like high cholesterol and stuff like that. But the one thing that stuck
Hmm.
was pre-diabetes. That's what just the red light bulbs lit up. The alarm went off, and I just freaked out. And
Hmm.
and the thing is, I had those numbers prior, but this was a time where I was like, wait. It literally altered my lunch plans after I left the doctor's office. My wife got me the book, the pre-diabetes diet, off Amazon,
Hmm.
and I just started to read. And I'll say this too: I didn't read this book cover to cover. I confess, I'm not a. I have a book that I've been sitting on that I'm still working through. Not an avid reader, but I just started reading more, and that meant labels. That meant
Hmm.
understanding everything that was happening on the plate. And it's hard, and like I can't prescribe a diet for everyone, but I can just tell you,
Right.
for me, I had one goal: lower your A1C. I focused on
Yes.
that, and honestly, and it sounds not sustainable because a lot of weight came off fast. I wasn't trying to lose weight. I was trying to lower my A1C, and because of, I mean, look, it's kind of crazy, but this is a new shirt. I've had to buy new clothes. All this stuff is happening. So, yeah, I felt like I had to just, start to talk about this because, people were commenting, and I was
Right.
like, you know what, I need to share this as well, on top of, just, that food.
Right. And being, having the notoriety that you do, you have the ability to make a much impact on the lives of others through you making the decision, whether it was for the reason of lowering your A1C or lowering your cholesterol, or regardless of the reason. It's like when you started doing it for yourself, it's almost like, do you agree that you felt like this passion to want to inspire others to do this for themselves?
Well, look, I ain't gonna lie. It feels amazing. Like it
Yeah.
was the spring and I had to go to a black tie event and I was able to buy a tuxedo off a rack. When you're going to, I'm someone who's been heavy since I was 8 years old. Okay. And I'm up and down the roller coaster. And I can tell you right now, don't get caught up in all
Mhm.
the success. Like like even right now, and I mean today, this morning, and I just, why I was joining you late for our pre-check was I was showering up after my workout. Like it's
Yeah.
hard to keep it up. Like I I eat for a living. Like I've been
Mhm.
traveling a lot, I've been shooting some stuff, and I tell you that restaurant food, like I'm actively
Right.
eating out at restaurants, and that ain't easy. It is a lot easier for me to
Right.
exercise discipline by making my own food at home. That's gigantic.
Right.
And so I'm actually struggling right now. I say all this to say, like, oh man, I'm about. I mean, I've been aiming for an ideal weight, and you know what? It is a kind of a numbers thing, and bodies are different. But like, I think at my lowest I hit 156. Today it was 164. So like there's I say that because
Right.
accountability is everything, because it's not easy. And
Mhm.
you try and do it all. We all try and do it all a little bit, and
Yes.
there's just kind of the
Yes.
peaks and valleys and stuff. And yeah, it makes me kind of go, and I feel like when I share that, it makes me, because look, what I don't want to do is wake up, go to the closet and go, oh dang, these don't fit anymore. Because when they fit, when they're loose, you know what I mean? When you get to wear those new clothes, and you look good in the mirror, it makes you feel good. And I want other people to feel that too.
Abso-freaking-lutely.
So you just want to like, kind of go, hey, check yourself. You know what I mean? Check yourself and that accountability. And, there are things that can really kind of get in the way of all the work you do. Like I actually, like in the last few weeks, like I've kept up my workouts, and I do boot camps.
Yes.
Stephanie, I do burpees. I do
Mhm.
bear crawls. I do a lot of hard stuff, but it don't mean much if you're not eating right. That's it,
Right,
and
right.
you at some point you just really got to say to yourself, like, there's what your body needs, there's what your
Mhm.
mind and your heart wants, but your mind and the heart, they want a lot of things. They want a lot
Mhm.
of things. So you gotta just, and I think, like, we help each other out. I think that's
Mhm.
probably one of the cool things about positive things about social media and technology is that we can be, communicative and share so much stuff. I think that's a word, communicative. I'll look it up later. But I just I don't know. Like, yeah, it's funny. Like, it's never just as easy as it seems. Everything
Right.
you see when I'm at my lowest, it's because I was high. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Like
Exactly.
it's progress. It's progress
It's
that you are
yes.
remarking on. Yeah.
Everything is a peak and valley. Did you see where I invited you to join the live broadcast on Instagram?
Oh gosh.
We've been
You
talking,
know
you've
what's
been
funny?
sharing some really good shit, and it's like
Oh, let
people
me.
are
Oh
missing
yeah.
this. They'll just have to follow
Go
me on,
live.
YouTube, and there he is.
Okay.
Okay,
I think
turn
so. I
down
did.
the volume on your phone so there's
Yeah.
no echo.
Yeah. Yeah. There it is. Oh wow.
There
No,
we
we're
go.
really
Hey,
going through.
everybody. Hey,
Oh
everybody. Here
wow.
we are. We were just so excited. We just got to
Yeah.
talking and he forgot to join. Um, but y'all,
I
Ali
can
has been
recap.
sharing some. Yeah, Ali has been sharing some really valuable information about how he got started, on this health and wellness journey and what prompted him to make it an important daily, effort in his life. And just a basic recap, he was sharing that he has throughout his life struggled with peaks and valleys of being slightly overweight and being healthy, and tying his mindset and his heart set to what's important, to what, because at the end of the day, it's about the impact you're making on your life, but also the representation that you are to the people that care most about you. And, I've been following Ollie and his physical transformation, his, health and wellness transformation for several months, which is why he's on Empowered Conversations today. I'm just so happy and excited to have him, someone who's actually, you can see the transformation. And, it's just been incredible. So thank you again. Now that you're on Instagram, thank you for joining me here. And
Sure.
but yeah, as you were saying, Ollie, when you were talking about, I say that often, like you have to tie your mindset to your heart set. It's this connection right here to what's important. Like that's your why. When I'm talking with people on Empowered Conversation, it is all about their why. I have people from all walks of life, from all different types of purposes, and living from all different kinds of intentionality. And, for my audience, through my voice and my heart and mind, what I'm sharing is that empowerment, that inspiration to being intentional in all areas of your life, and how you fuel your body, how you care for yourself. Practice of self care is so incredibly important, because it's like you said, you can be working out every day, but if you're fueling your body, if you're put trash in, trash out, healthy
Yeah.
in, healthy out, and you can't, you just said it, you can't outrun a bad diet.
Yeah, and I for years I think really I feel like why I think people are like, oh my god, you look so great. It is a before and after, and like if you think about it, what are those before and after things? And I think that it's quantifiable. You're like, well, this is what happened, before these changes and stuff, and a person can look different or performs
Hmm.
different or whatever. But it really is like we all have a start point, or we all have a place where what we are at, and then where we want to get to. And
Exactly.
it's interesting, like, and I, we were talking about this earlier, and just to jump in with the Instagram crowd, like, I've been, if you've been following me along, I've been traveling all over the place lately, and been trying and taking advantage of that travel by going to a slew of restaurants, and it's kind of crazy because it takes a toll. Because part of it for me is like, I like to, in a perfect world, Stephanie, like, I'm sans alcohol during the week. I have like my routine is like, like I have a quarter cup of oatmeal, some berries and chia seeds and a little milk for breakfast, a salad for lunch, and then dinner where I try to kind of like keep my starches under control. I'm also a big protein guy. I love meat, so that's a
Yeah, me
harder thing
too.
for me to kind of go light on. But and I can't advocate a diet for you or anyone else, because
Right.
for me, all my success came from just looking at my own numbers, talking to my doctor, and then learning. That's it, and
Absolutely.
I think that's kind of the big thing, is you got to educate yourself. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's been hard because those last few weeks I have not been able to keep up with that ideal diet. And and as I was saying this morning, weighed myself, like my goal weight, or where I literally looked at the scale going, dang, that's low. I was like on my
Uh-huh.
little home scale around 156. I hit 164 today. So, and I had been keeping up with my workouts. So
Mhm.
even on the road. So it goes to show you, you can't outrun a bad diet. And it's interesting. And this is not a plug. In fact, I'm very behind on giving content for these guys, but I got one of
Plug
these, like,
away.
have
Plug
you heard of
away.
these things? So CO2. So basically this thing measures your CO2. It tells you if you're burning fat or
Uh-huh.
carbs. Can't really figure it out. This is yet another thing that haven't really quite committed to. But it's interesting because it's called Lumen, and one of the things they talk
Uh-huh. I've
about
heard
in this
Lumen.
little app or whatever is if you're stressed, if you're
Yep.
stressed, you're not in a great place. And it's
Exactly.
that's another thing too. But look, it's great that you had me on, and honestly, like, I just, for me, I think why I started sharing it too is like, I know, like, the feeling when I'm like slapping on like all my new clothes, and it feels really good. It feels so good,
Right.
and I want to keep it up. So the way you keep it up is accountability. Even just sharing with
Absolutely.
people, like, you know what,
Yes.
I'm a little, I'm not, I'm dipping a little bit, not hitting the same progress strides. It's just sharing that with people. I think maybe helps me motivate myself to kind of go,
Mhm.
got to keep it going. It's like one of my agents
Mhm.
says, he goes, you're just pushing a rock up the hill, my friend. You know what I mean? You just,
Right.
what it is. Eventually you'll get to the part where it starts rolling downhill. But, I think a lot of us, it can relate to that, right? We're all, and then we're coming up with the
Yes.
holidays. Jeez, here
Yes.
it comes. Here it comes.
Yeah. Yeah. Holiday baking championship.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and what you're talking about when you say rolling a rock up a hill, we all are. And when you're sharing, that these peaks and valleys, because I often will go live and talk things in my life where most people think that Stephanie's just happy all the time, and that couldn't be farther from the truth. But I'm so intentional with what I focus on. For instance, when I'm at the gym, I'm so intentional. I only get on one particular elliptical at Planet Fitness because I go to two gyms. I start out at Planet Fitness for cardio because Gold's doesn't have good cardio machines. And then I go to Gold's and do my weight training and my circuit. But it's like, so I'm in front of the Food Network and HGTV. I don't want to see any news. I don't want to see any Jerry
Yeah.
Springer type shows. I'm so intentional. And it's like you have to be intentional, but it doesn't mean that oh, Stephanie's just happy all the time. Oh, Stephanie's just, no, Stephanie is not, and Stephanie is certainly not perfect. And so it's about, when you're talking about like sharing, where when I look in the mirror, sometimes it's, I'm not happy with what I see, or I'm not happy with how I feel. Maybe I've eaten, a lot of junk or drinking too much alcohol. But it's then again what you said about, holding yourself accountable, being accountable, because at the end of the day, you are, you know, you are your accountability to yourself first. Love yourself first, and it's why they say put your mask on first, on the airplane. Because if you're busy putting somebody else's mask on, and then, you're dead, then you're no
Mm.
longer, you know, and,
Yeah, I'll give you my, yeah.
about when you're looking in the mirror, It is about what I see. It is about liking what I see when I look in the mirror, regardless of the opinions of others, even, the people closest to you. And, when that's a driving force, because you're right. When you look good, when you feel you look good, you do have that burst of confidence. And when you have that burst of confidence, you've got that higher amount of energy that you're vibrating at and sharing and
And
being.
it's funny too. I think as you start to explore this a little bit and share it, you realize, and especially the sharing it part, you realize it's more up here. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's more about a mental state because, we all are, in the end of the day, like all our bodies are different, and
Mm-hmm.
we're not machines. We're not statues. Like
Mm-mm.
we're all built the way we're built because of our parents and genetics and all that stuff too. So
Mm-hmm.
the ideal is just about like going like really honestly saying to yourself, and like I feel good, I look good, I feel like I've taken a lot of steps to improve myself, right? But you have to be, you have to like really love yourself a bit. You have to like
Yes.
really just kind of be in a good positive place. And it's interesting. Like I think in this day and age, we can get so much stimulus, and we can get so much like especially with social media, you kind of think like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's Ali, that's Stephanie, and what you see is what you get, right? But it's all
Right.
very calculated. But at the same time, too, I also think that's why I like to share this stuff. Is like, I want to share like when you fall, where you tumble. I mean, if you think about it too, it sounds like the most un unstraight up real talk. But when I think about the best sports ads, like in the '90s, 2000s, those Nike
Mm-hmm.
ads where you just see like you'd see an athlete who like stumbles, or you'd see someone in the Paralympics, and it's inspiring.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's the other thing
Yes.
too, and that's what I like about this too, is like, where does inspiration really come from?
Mm-hmm.
It's too easy to look at somebody who's like at the top of the mountain, who's like, oh
Right.
look, it's Tom Brady, he's got more rings than fingers. Well,
Right.
no, not with, he needs two hands. He needs two hands, and we're the same age. I don't know how that's possible, but it's true. But it's, I think like I think where, for me, when I do those videos, it is about going, how can I like get someone to on it, to just take a step so
Right.
that they can feel better about themselves. I actually have a colleague, a
Yes.
friend of mine, who's he's a food writer, great
Mhm,
guy, and he's been on a bit of a weight loss journey too, and he was sharing it with
mhm,
me because I tiptoed about it. I wasn't trying to like
mhm, yeah,
jump into his business, and he was just he just unloaded. He goes, "Oh yeah, man, da da da," and I was like pumped up. I was like, "Can we like
yes,
let's go work out? Let's go work out." You know what I mean? Like I want to
absolutely.
work out with all the food heads. You know what I mean? Like because it's overwhelming, man. Like you can't, like if you start to do the math, you're like, there's
Mhm,
no way. Like I'll do a workout, and according to my Apple Watch, and I know sometimes they're a little generous with the calorie count, but I look
right.
at what it takes for me to burn like 450 to 600 calories, and I can eat that in 5 minutes with fries. Like
Yeah.
5 minutes.
Oh god, yeah. I love yeah, and who doesn't love french fries? I love french fries, and, it's not
Yeah.
about never eating french fries. It's not about never. It's not about being perfect. Life is not about being perfect. It's about, like, because every once in a while, I have a hankering for a McDonald's cheeseburger and french fries, and my ass goes and gets it. But it's about, again, for tying that heart set and that mindset to, being the best version, loving yourself, practicing that self-care, and what's coming about for yourself, for your life, the empowerment that you are spreading out here in the world towards others, because people are watching. People are, I'll be honest, like, there are shows on the pandemic, like during the pandemic, on the Food Network, that, prior to the pandemic, I wasn't a big fan of. And then all of a sudden, people were like, people's kids, like Ree Drummond, her kids are recording her,
Hmm.
the Pioneer Woman, and her soon to be son-in-law is like sliding in the background in his socks in the back of the kitchen. I'm like, oh my God, this is hilarious. And it's about the authenticity and the realness, because again, you never know who's watching, and the impact that you can make. Even you don't have to be Ali Khan. on TV. It's just we all have the ability to make an impact in other people's lives. And what are you embodying? What are
You
what are
know,
you representing?
something you brought up that I think is just gets me. And you said,
Mhm.
"Oh, I'm craving a McDonald's cheeseburger and fries." Which, by the way, those things I could have 12 of those. They're small, you know what I mean? It's kind of funny.
Anchoring,
And then
anchoring.
yeah, I know. Like if you have one it's like really not that bad, really. It's everything else, right? It's your whole day. And that's another big thing I do too. Is I try and sandwich. Like if yesterday I had to go try a burger at a taco truck, and
Yes, I saw that.
I made a lot of efforts to eat something sensible before and make dinner after, and I didn't ask for fries. It came with fries. I had a couple. But then I had to say it. I was like, yeah, it's counter to a lot of things I kind of believe in, but at the same time, I got to a point where I can't worry about, oh no, I'm throwing food away. What about other people? Like I can't. I have a different set of issues that are bigger
Mm,
than like, oh, food waste. And I think there's ways
mhm.
to address food waste, but eating it is not one to do it.
Right.
So that was a concession. But what I was trying to bring up was people like to vilify food. They like to make
Yeah.
food or certain foods the enemy to push
Right.
their theories and their diets.
Mhm.
Like I said, I can't push. It happens to be that I do pay attention to carbs, but I also was looking at my A1C. That's what I was focusing on.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
but and different diets work for different people. So it's not that diets don't work, but you can't. It's not a one size fits all. A and B. You can't make food. You can't attach an emotional, um, a negative emotion to any kind of food, or
Or
even to a
anything.
degree cuisine as well. Like I think
Mhm.
what you have to do is really go, are you getting enough of what you need so that you can go and enjoy what you want?
Yes.
And
Yes.
that
Cold
is
chills.
a big thing for me because like people a friend of ours was over and she goes, how did you lose all this weight? And I was like, well, I have eaten a lot of salads, and I switched from like my Ezekiel bread sandwich to salads. I started making these little concessions, like I thought
Yeah.
that, oh, a banana and oatmeal is healthy. That doesn't mean you have a large bowl of it, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
kind of
Yeah.
like there, and that was again a tweak for me. I switched from healthy sandwich to giant salad. And then
Mhm.
my friend's like, oh, so is that what I have to do? Eat a lot of salads? And I'm like, well, here's the thing. Before you kind of go, oh, salads are boring or whatever, and it's not as fun as lasagna, when you eat a salad, you get a tremendous amount of vitamins and minerals. Like you get so
Uh-huh.
much nutrients in a large
Yep.
salad. And then from a caloric standpoint, you can have so much mass and
Mhm.
not have to go, oh my God, I've overeaten from a caloric standpoint. And
Right.
so really there's pieces to the puzzle that are already there. And a lot of people will tell you like, you know, I mean, whether you believe in the food pyramid, but there's a lot to all these little graphs and pies and
Mhm.
charts that work. But it's
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, it comes down to something as old school as like eat your fruits and veggies. Certainly eat your veggies. I mean, you could make an argument
Right.
about fruit and all that, fruit juice and stuff. But yeah, it's
Right.
but so don't make the cheeseburger at McDonald's the enemy. Make the salad your hero,
He
or
Oh.
find a vegetable that you love. Like I love a charred uh, kale with cannellini beans. That to me is like
Mm.
my protein's best
Mm.
friend right there. And I
Yeah.
got and I almost
Definitely.
enjoy. Actually, I had to throw some stuff together, kind of cleaning out the fridge last night, and I swear I liked my sautéed kale and bell peppers and cannellini beans more than the wagyu steak because I actually had a better cook on the vegetable. So I just and I'm grateful that those excite my palate as well. But
Absolutely.
yeah, food you shouldn't make food or food cultures and things like that because I've kind of done it. Like I start to look at
Mhm.
like if you look at a traditional palliative cuisine and you can go, oh my God, it's got so many calories and stuff. Well, you think about the origins of how that cuisine started. there were no supermarkets, there was not refrigeration,
Mm-mm.
food was scarce. So you have to really look at the circumstances that created the plate in front of you, and then the circumstances you're in now. And that my circumstance at the end of 2021 was half your plate vegetables. And
Abso-freaking-lutely.
I swear, I think that thing works. That works. Half your plate vegetables is not a bad. Hopefully, it's not Frito misto vegetables like deep fried cauliflower, although that tastes delicious. But
Right.
I think we can all figure it out, by being a
Well,
little reasonable.
and that's the thing, and I wanted to address 2 things here because you've mentioned it a couple times. Not every and have you ever heard of the term "live it"?
No.
Live it? Okay, instead of diet, think about language. The term diet. You're not dying. Okay, so
Yeah.
do you ever watch My Next Guest with, David Letterman?
No, it's so embarrassing. I haven't, and it's literally been on my queue, and I just haven't. We
Yes.
have too many
Well,
shows to watch.
he was interviewing Kanye West, and Kanye West was talking about a live it instead of a diet. So I love that. We're it's a live it. So and not every live it is for everybody. I'm trained with the Institute for Integrative Nutrition as a health coach, and I have studied all kinds of diet theories, like and your blood type. Some people are better with being a vegan, whereas others would be
Right.
unhealthy. I'm an O positive blood type. I could never be a vegan and be perfectly healthy. I need
Right.
animal protein. And, it's about what is good with your individual body. And then the second thing is I'm plugging D-Fa-Rick-and-Licious. I'm plugging myself. That's what D-Fa-Rick-and-Licious is all about. Healthy is delicious. So for
Right.
instance, my chicken piccata, it's got the traditional Italian flavors of white wine and butter and caper and lemon. But also with my chicken piccata, I add peppers, red onions, asparagus or spinach, tomatoes. So
Yeah.
you've
Yeah.
got
Yeah. Yeah.
that flavor and it's so scrumptiously delicious, but you're also adding that nutritional value. And the more, different types of colors you have that you add into your plate, like you said with salads and vegetables, there's a way because people think that healthy's boring and healthy is bland. No, it doesn't have to be if you
Yeah.
know how to season, if you know how to add the right ingredients to make that dish healthier and keep the
Yeah.
deliciousness.
I think it was funny. It was a trend for a while. You'd see it certainly in restaurants and stuff. And I was attempting it at home. It kind of made a big mess. But I like the concept of cauliflower steak because the way
Yeah.
it's prepared and seasoned with a hard sear, with an aggressive hit of kosher salt, pepper, and things like that.
Mhm.
Like it's okay to. I mean, shoot, when I do salads, like I'll toss in. I season it with salt. Like it sounds funny. Like,
Mhm.
oh, it's a salad, but like you shouldn't make it devoid of flavor. I was even at the salad bar at a supermarket, and I remember I was like looking at the dressing, and this guy and like reading the calories, and the guy's like, "Look, man, you gotta eat it. Like it's
Yeah.
you can't just go in going, oh, I'm gonna eat like a negative calorie meal. Like you're. I think where I've and it's very true for me is where I found a lot of success was in not going, oh, you don't skip a meal, you don't deprive yourself. You start finding ways to go, well, if I shave a little bit off here or a little bit off there,
Mhm.
I'll tell you, like I find now, because I do a lot of recipe content, when it works perfect because of just the overall size factor, but I'll use a potato bun, Pepperidge Farm makes this great one, and it's
Yes.
it's like about a 4 incher, and it
Mhm.
fits most burger patties. I have a mold and a 4 inch, 4 inch in diameter, 3/4 inch height, makes for about a 4.5, 5 ounce patty, which is actually pretty good serving.
Yeah.
Every time I have it, I'm like, oh, I think I just had enough. Like it never seems too big, but then when I'm done, I'm like, I think I'm okay. So I actually love the size that I get from these potato rolls. And when I look at the information on it, like it's just a fraction of the calories versus like some
Mhm.
crazy brioche bun, et cetera, et
Mhm.
cetera, et cetera. So, I think like just making concessions, being smart.
Mhm.
So that's a smart
Mhm.
play, like adding more vegetables, sneaking more vegetables into your food. I mean, we got my kid like for a while was like the only way to get him to eat vegetables was just he'll have a smoothie, and that's a great
Right.
thing to do too.
Right.
Um, but I think yeah, that's and I think that also speaks to the importance of if you're talking about like health and losing weight and diet and all
Mhm.
this good stuff, you really want to educate yourself on how to prepare the meals you need at home. It's very important. It's very important
Absolutely.
because restaurants are, like they're in the business to make sure the customers keep coming back first and foremost.
Right.
And that is, sometimes that can align with your health needs.
Mhm.
Sometimes it doesn't, but sometimes
Mhm.
you just don't know. There's a lot of hidden kind of ingredients. I mean, that's the nature of a secret recipe, right? And that's why we love restaurants and stuff. But at the same time, it's you want to educate yourself a bit and have a few go-to recipes, that are
Absolutely.
gonna
Mhm.
keep the train
Oh,
on the
yeah.
tracks, I like to say.
Yeah. And speaking of your son, that he has food allergies. So tell me, how did you guys find out that, and how have you, incorporated that into
Sure.
your the way you care
Well,
for
it
him?
was it was pretty scary the way we found out. This was a long time ago. He was maybe a little over a year old, and we were
Mhm.
at daycare. He was at daycare, and I got a phone call saying, "Hey, something's wrong. He has like a huge swelling around his eye." And I got there, and basically, it's interesting because the day, most days, like or most kind of schools and stuff like that, the awareness of food allergies is so big that places
Right.
will just put bans on things like peanut butter that I grew up with, or I grew up around, I
Right.
should say. It's everywhere. Like there's a total ban on nuts and tree nuts, but someone had
Mhm.
mistakenly brought them in, and what happened was he grabbed this other kid's cracker, and then the teacher turned around and saw that and said, "Oh no, that's not yours. Put that down." And then he touched
Right.
his eye, and in seconds his eye
Yeah.
completely swole shut. So he had Benadryl there, and they were
Mhm.
allowed to give him Benadryl. So he, took some Benadryl. And I took him to see the doctor, and they were like, "We'll have to retest, but it's very highly likely he has he's allergic to the protein in peanut." So we did allergy tests when he was 2, and subsequently since then, and have confirmed time and again through blood work that he's allergic to peanuts, and we avoid peanuts and tree nuts, but there's some specific nuts along with peanuts that he has tested, for an allergy for. So we carry an EpiPen.
Mhm.
We've had lots of close calls and scares and stuff like that. Luckily, he's never ingested um, peanut butter in any large quantity or amount. Um, so we have never actually had to use the EpiPen, but I started working with FAIR in 2020 and 2021, Food Allergy Research Education, and they're a great consumer advocacy group. They help get a lot of legislation passed to kind of let people get labeling done, which is tremendous. I mean, maybe my label reading started with my son, but
Yes.
that's our journey, and that's what we do. And there are times where where I'm traveling, and like I'll tell you, like I do love me some Thai food with that peanut sauce, and I
I
don't
love
keep
Thai
that at the
food.
house.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
had pad Ki Mao, drunken noodles. That's my favorite dish. I love Thai
good,
basil. And,
yeah,
I had that in Myrtle Beach at my favorite Bangkok house. That's like the best, pad Ki Mao drunken noodles that I've ever had. And, but I'm right there with you. Thai, Vietnamese, I love pho. There's this amazing freaking restaurant, called Pho Ginseng right behind me. There's spicy rare beef, and it's a peanut broth, and it's just
yeah.
mind blowing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I was just doing some research in African food, and there's a whole
Oh,
peanut soup out there. A
mm,
lot of great stuff. But yeah, it's kind of funny. It kind of gives me a new thing to kind of like. It's interesting, right? It's like all of a sudden it's like this is a food that I never thought much of, and now when I have nuts, it's like ooh, you know what I mean? I'm having contraband, but it is what it is,
exactly.
and we work around it. And I think I've done some pretty good, interesting stuff. Oh, I did what's great is pumpkin seeds. So I
Yes.
do a pumpkin seed pesto that works really well, and I love pumpkin seeds in general. And I think with baking, confession time, even though I've done 2 seasons of Spring Baking Championship. I'm not personally a huge baker. I did get Duff Goldman's Kids Baking book, which was about as advanced as I think I could ever get to. It's a serious baking book, but
Yes.
definitely it is for kids. A lot of fun recipes, but he's not
Right.
pulling punches with technique. It's really pretty impressive. But we talked about how possibly you could sub tahini for peanut butter. So I'm trying to
Mhm,
explore what
mhm.
tahini and chocolate would be like. That would be really fun.
Or almond. Almonds are not tree nuts.
They're on the list. So yeah,
They
no
are on
nuts
the
for us.
list.
Yeah, they're on
Gotcha.
our list. Yeah,
And
yeah.
what about cashews?
Cashews, yeah. So I think like so technically peanuts a legume, so it'll go
Mm.
peanuts and tree nuts. But yeah, I know you're talking about korma and all kinds of stuff. I think there's ways to use coconut flesh in the
Mhm,
place of
mhm.
korma. As well, really, it's like tapioca flour. I'm looking at it as a thickener for korma gravies, for korma curries. But yeah, you just have to figure it out. Be resourceful. It's what we do.
Absolutely.
It's all about substitution.
And another thing, which we're talking about, you know, when we're intentional with our lives and like making sure, even though you might, during your show, you're eating stuff that isn't, completely healthy, that you make up for it by making sure you're still doing your workouts, making sure you're still doing this other intentional stuff to keep yourself as healthy as possible. My dad suffered a stroke approximately 3 weeks ago on a Friday, and he goes to the gym 5 days a week. He's always been mindful about how he eats. He's
Uh,
77 years old. Him and my mama were in Gatlinburg, Tennessee for their 54th anniversary. He was ziplining. So this man, with not even 14 hours later after a stroke, well, they did the TPA immediately. They got him the thrombectomy immediately. So, but his healing, he's getting out. Like I have to be there at 1 o'clock with my family at the rehab because he comes home tomorrow and the rehab, the PTs fight to work with my daddy because he's so intentionally so in charge of his health and getting out there and being back to his normal life. Even at 77 years old, he gets around like a 40 or 50-year-old. So and this is the man that I grew up watching, be a product and an embodiment of self-care and what it's done for him later in life. So why or where this stroke happens, we don't, or happened for him, we don't know the answers, but I do know that his healing, his rapid healing, and him getting out so quickly. I was there for his PT 2 days ago, and the therapist that was working with him, she says, "Yeah, I'm not even sending him home with a cane. I don't think he needs it." And this is a
wow.
77-year-old man, and it's just amazing. And it's like the more you do, the more you can do. And
Hmm.
the more intentional that you are with your life and all matters of it, the more quality of life and the quicker you're able to heal, the quicker you're able to bounce back from adversity, whether it's physical or mental or emotional. And we're just so excited to have him come home tomorrow.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, like it's one of those things where it's of course you're like the first reaction is like, oh my gosh, it's awful, and hopefully the recovery will
Right.
be soon, and it sounds like it
Hmm.
is, and it's also a reminder that everything, take nothing for granted. I mean, at the end of the day, I think
Right.
like any health gains I have is just going to make ease things down the road. I mean, like I can sit here and talk about like, oh, cool, I get to buy, like, better fitting shirts. But like
Right.
there's something much bigger than like, what you see on a superficial level to health, which is like just, you're having your body being ready to take on, difficulties and stress, because nothing is, like there's no guarantees,
Hmm.
like you don't know what's happening around the corner. I mean, there's human body is complex and stuff. So I think like, that's another thing too, is like, we can kind of look at this stuff from almost superficial levels. And I have to confess, I think I've been thinking about that the whole time for a lot of it,
Hmm.
which was, like, oh, I want to like look better or like
Hmm.
be thinner, but at the same time, like I can still eat these foods that give me such pleasure. But it's like, all this stuff like exercise and diet is about health. Oh, we can't hear Ali. I don't know. We'll try and crank it up there. I don't think I'm muted, but
Yeah,
I
you're
need
definitely
some
not
tips.
muted.
Okay, cool.
All
All
you
right.
need, all you need those glasses, brah. Somebody
I know.
said, "Be
That's
BD
funny.
Costa Rica."
Yeah, it's funny. Working on it.
Are you able to hear him now? That's Instagram. Well, I know I can
Yeah,
hear you loud and clear through here.
that's good. Oh,
Yeah.
sometimes very muffled. All right. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll
Well,
figure
thank
it
you,
out.
BD Costa Rica. So, I just want to give you another shout out. Through Cheap Eats, like that's literally one of my favorite Food Network shows. Been watching it since 2016, I think is when it started airing, correct? Or was it 2015?
Yeah, it was the pilot aired in 2015, but
Okay.
we did 2016 is when we kind of rolled out with that first season. So it was
Mhm.
yeah, I mean for me it was like it all started in September, but then you wait and then to see what they want to do next, and then we started to do more. We shot more episodes in December and January, and then it
Mhm.
aired in that spring of 2016. Yeah.
So, that being said, one of my it's the intro to your show. One of my favorite things about you is you're big, authentic. It's like it seems just so real. It comes across as just so real and authentic. Your big, humorous, fun personality, and it's in your intro to your show where it's the part where it's like I know you've seen this millions of times, like
Yeah,
when you
yeah,
go.
yeah,
I'm like, oh my God, what episode is that? That's like, I just light up. It's just so hilarious. Like, so your personality, where are you more like your dad, your mom, or just,
yeah. Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny. I think the best answer to that was when I graduated college, and a friend of mine met my mom and my dad, and she goes, "Where did this come from?" So I have to say, like, I think it kind of just happened. I grew up watching a lot of TV, and
yeah.
I started doing a lot of like theater stuff starting in seventh grade on, and I found a real opportunity to kind of like be myself on a stage more so than just in real life. You know what I mean? And then
Hmm.
eventually that kind of bounced my way back into my real life to be more extroverted in my
Yes.
normal interactions and stuff. But yeah, it is funny. Like I think yeah, when I don't have, there are a lot of times I just don't have those filters, and it just kind of lets it go. And then you bring that to a television editor, and they can just kind of go, oh, let me just cut this all together. And, it's
Yes.
interesting too, because when I look at that, those early days, like, and trying out all this food and visiting all these restaurants, like that was still pretty new to me. Like, I had written
Uh-huh.
about food, but I was by no means some sort of veteran food writer. I wasn't like, writing for the LA Times and New York Times for 10 years. Like the truth is, and I have a lot of food writer friends, like, when you do this for like a decade, 2 decades, you get burnt out.
Hmm.
Like that's
Yeah.
kind of like how you get to a place where what does it take to impress someone who's tasted it all per se. But I think what's interesting about the show was I hadn't tasted it all. I was just so excited to taste it all, and I think that was
Yes.
very relatable.
Yes.
And it's funny because that was then. This is now. Like over the years, like it's just I did a 2 week when I first did Spring Baking Championship. We were in New
Hmm.
Orleans. I was there for 2 weeks. You know what that's like, being in New Orleans for 2 weeks, eating out
I was
every
there
night?
for,
'Cause I
yeah,
did.
I can imagine.
it
I
it
can
it it, it
imagine.
single-handedly changed my view on food, because to
Yeah.
be in a city with just like what, 2 centuries of culinary traditions, like to have arguably the most original American cuisine. I mean, Cajun Creole,
Mhm.
was created there. I mean, what's amazing about America is that you can go to New York City and have like a little Italy and a Chinatown, and then that
Mhm.
replicated in Chicago and LA, San Francisco, and even medium-sized cities, right, will have a great deal of diversity, because that is what makes America such a dynamic food scene, right? But you know, to
Absolutely.
create something new that the world had not seen. That is what happened in Louisiana. That is what Cajun Creole is, and it's kind of like, ooh, and then just yeah, just the way like people just love their food. It reminds me of even
Yes.
growing up with parents from, a small country like Bangladesh that did not have a
Mhm.
lot of resources, but their
Mhm.
culinary traditions are right. It's like religion, music,
Mhm.
poetry, food, all that stuff is like very cherished there. And I found in New Orleans that people would just, they argue about food. It's like it's Italians will kind of argue about like I heard a Sicilian will to go to a neighbor's party next door.
Yeah.
They'll travel 30 minutes to get the best cheese or the best
Oh,
bread.
Ollie, I'm a foodie. I will go 30, 45 minutes. It's like, "Oh, let's go eat here. Let's go eat there." And it's like, and people, "I don't wanna go all that way." I'm like, "What?" I'm all about the experience. I'm all about because I don't know if you were inspired to, by food, but I've been in like, when you were a kid, but I was so inspired by being in the kitchen with my grandmother, helping her make breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I would make the baby biscuits, and it's just I've always loved making food, eating food. And I can like when people are like, "Oh, I only eat like a plain cheeseburger and french fries," they go to a nice restaurant and that's what they order. Like I can't imagine. But it's like, obviously you and I have this palate that is expansive to where we appreciate and really just love all kinds of different cuisines and, from all over the world.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think too. I know for myself, I just feel like because yeah, I mean, I'd love to. Sometimes those cheeseburgers at those expensive restaurants are really good, but it is about,
Yeah,
I
but
think,
I mean, it's like,
challenging
I won't
yourself
eat
a
Brussels
bit.
sprouts or
Yeah, well, right, no, no. I do. I know for myself, I strive to kind of go. What would be a bigger ask for me to try?
yeah, yeah,
That's always fun because you never know what else is out there.
absolutely. So, guys, this has been awesome. You are awesome. This has just been amazing. I really appreciate you being on today and such a wealth of knowledge that you've shared with me and my audience.
Of course, my pleasure.
Yes, yes. Well, being that I have to get to my family here in like 35 minutes, thank you everyone for being on Empowered Conversations. You've got to follow Ali Khan, alikhaneats.com. He is absolutely amazing. He's so much fun. He's so hilarious, so entertaining. And you stay right here, Ali. Any last words that you would like to say before we end?
Well, I tell you something that I'm really excited about that just officially announced that there's more stuff in the queue. And, if you
Yes.
haven't already, just give me a follow at AliKhan Eats on all the big socials and stuff. But, I'm now doing some great stuff for Texas Highways Magazine. I'm the burger editor
Yes.
there. We've been doing a few stories just, about burgers in Texas. And it looks like we're going to be doing a bunch more for 2023. It'll be a great ongoing thing. So there's a taco editor and a barbecue editor for Texas
Mhm.
Monthly. And now with Texas Highways and myself, we're going to be talking about burgers throughout this massively large state, which is crazy. It's the size of France. I don't even know how I got around to my latest forays in a little medium-sized city. I'm reminded 100,000 people is a medium-sized city in San Angelo. I got a hot tip that mom and pop Tex-Mex restaurants make
Yeah.
amazing burgers. So I checked it out. You can check it out. It's a link in my profile, and it's on TexasHighwaysMagazine.com if you just search me up there too.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, all right, guys. You stay right here, Ali. I'm just going to say bye to everybody. So, everyone, thank you again for joining Empowered Conversations. Till next week, y'all have a fan-for-rickin-tastic week. Bye.
Ciao, everybody.